Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and here's a question for you. What would you do if you were watching somebody's videos and you watch a few, or maybe you watch them for a long while, and all of a sudden they start picking, you see in their videos, they're basically picking on elderly people. They had not really picking on, well, you could call it that, but it's like they totally have no respect. So this person is in their 40s and they have no respect for people in their 60s and up. And they're disrespecting them, total strangers. You know, say things like they go to a grocery store. Okay, that was an adult, but I still turned it off. They're going to, grocery stores, in the grocery store, and they step in front of the elderly person. They just, because they think that they are more important, whatever it is, than the elderly person. And the elderly person's kind of taken aback and doesn't say, hey, watch it, just, just makes, says something so that they would know that, hey, you see me standing here. They don't say you see me standing here, but they say something so that they'll know there was actually somebody standing there. And they don't care. Then they start to act like they're somehow some kind of voice of authority, and they're like this, that they try to show that the other person, the elderly person standing there, should listen to them. Just totally disrespectful. Now somebody in their 40s, come on now, that's not it. Look at this bag flying across. Watch it get underneath my car, like that one that I had to get Adam to come down there because I couldn't get it out myself because of my knees. And one of them wrapped itself around my motor. Adam never believed me that had happened before. And then when he saw that happen this time, he wasn't believing me. And then he saw it and he was like, I cannot believe that they do that. They just get blown in the wind and they wrap around the tailpipe. Not the motor, but the tailpipe. What did I say? Yeah, the tailpipe. Anyway, back to this. Some people are being so disrespectful to people who are elderly. Now, elderly, from what I understand, is 65 and older. It should change. It may have changed to more like 70 or 75 and older. But, anyway, I'm not an elderly person. I'm not classified as elderly. I'm 63. And so I see this woman, I'm like, that is so disgusting. That somebody actually would do that, to elderly people. Act like, they're, and then what happened to me, how many days ago was it? Just earlier this week. And was in a grocery store, was it this week? And a woman told me, I was in one of those shopping carts because, I had pneumonia and all this stuff, and I'm finally walking around more, but I'm not going to push it. Just believe me, I do not want a return of that pneumonia. Oh my gosh. You develop it, don't want it to come back. And anyway, I was in one of those electric shopping carts, and she might have thought that was something that employees use. And I had stood up to get a bag. I was in the produce, and I had to get a bag, and they're way up there. Did they not think? Yeah, anyway. And so I was getting some summer squash. This woman walked up behind me, and I really didn't get that great of a hair. I mean, look at her. I said hair because I'm thinking she had blonde hair, and she seemed more like she was in her 40s, okay? What I could see out of the corner of my eye, and I just turned because she got so close to me. It kind of scared me, like she was going to push me over, because at that moment she said something like, move out of my way. And oh boy, what? I said, stand in line and wait your turn. I went off. I said it in a loud, stern, firm voice, not yelling, not so the whole store heard me, but the produce department did. And there was a guy who I saw a few minutes later working there, who gave me the kind of like the nod, like, you did a good job telling her off. he was, I guess, a produce manager or something. He was, no, I guess they call him produce manager, putting up stuff and everything. He was the older gentleman. And anyway, I said, you're going to actually actually telling somebody in an electronic shopping cart to move out of your way? What, are you that entitled? You think you're that entitled? And then I had to move because she pushed her body, so I had to move, and I had to go back to sit down. And when I did, I saw she was gone. I think I scared the ever-living crap out of her. Because I'm a tall woman, and I'm telling you, still to this day, you shrink as you get. Some people, if not all, and they get shorter as you get older. And I'm not as tall as I used to be. And my dad was 6'7", 6'7", built like a linebacker. Boy, my goodness. And I got, my height and body shape, honestly, from him. So did my 3 sisters. We also have a brother, only one male. He's the eldest, and he's 6'5". And then, anyway, but, I mean, come on, what nerve? And maybe she thought I was elderly. I mean, only 2 more years, and then I'll be classified as elderly. But maybe she thought I was an employee and that she could speak to employees whatever way she wanted. No, you can't. Oh, my gosh. And that was just so, I'm not saying low class, I'm saying low level. I mean, low life. She was low life. Okay, seriously. To actually say something like that to somebody else, no matter what she thought, no matter who she thinks she is, but to do that. You see those birds flying around? Yeah, anyway. And I have noticed that anytime I'm doing videos, it'll take a bird flying around and make it the thumbnail. There's 2 of them up there. They're kind of circling. From here they don't look all that big, but they might be. We have 3, what are they called, turkey vultures that roam our neighborhood. 3 of them, and I'm talking years. Anyway, to get back to this, what would you do? What would you say? How would you feel if you saw somebody, making videos, and kind of, in a way, they edit their videos, so they're rewatching their videos when they're editing, and they leave that in there. Apparently they're thinking this is okay, the way they treat people who are saying they're 60s and up. And it's not the only time that they can do that any way they want. They can go to the store, step in front of one to go, get what they wanted. And man, let me tell you, that for years has bothered me. And I'm talking when it goes back to when I was in my 40s and beyond then. When I'm standing in a grocery store and I'm not taking my time, I'm not, I just got there and somebody puts their hand in front of my face to grab something. Oh, that's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. But there are people who've had that high sense of entitlement that everybody must move out of their way and they're just going to get whatever they want, even if you don't. Okay. So imagine this person does it again. I mean, it's several times. But the last one is a big one. Okay. And I'm not going to go into detail, but it was so totally disrespectful to this that made the video. So totally disrespectful to elderly people. Especially since one of them was I'd say probably in their 80s maybe, and one of them was having difficulty walking. Okay, walking. I've been through that because I had pneumonia recently, and you see the sidewalks over there where they had that red right there. They were working on those. They were changing those. It was the other ones weren't up to code, so people, like wheelchairs and such, could go down with, off the sidewalk, off and on the sidewalk with ease. So they changed those, and you can see those. That area right there is new on both sides. They were doing that the same thing on where I live in this neighborhood, and all that, and plus part of the sidewalk that was uneven, they were changing those. All that concrete, dirt, because there's dirt underneath that, and then they were digging up. Plus, Adam got 2 things of dirt for our backyard. Men came out, our lawns people, and spread them and all, spread all that dirt and everything. With all that and me having pollen allergies, I have chemical allergies too, and I got sick, pneumonia. And as soon as I got off of that, I got better. They came back. The city came back out. The city did it. The city came back out and did an alley over there that, across the street. And we don't have alleys on our side, but had fixed the road too. Like you see that part of that road right there fixed. All that all over again. Boy, I was sick for over a month. I say about a month and a half. Really bad. Couldn't even stand in the shower kind of thing. But anyway, so I can understand what it's like. I'm not old enough to have, I'm not 80, I'm 63, just turned 63 last week, okay, and a week ago. And so I can understand what it's to have difficulty walking. And then this crazy woman, why am I saying crazy? I don't know if I should say crazy or just deplorable, just despicable woman. What she did was to show, I'm not going to say what it was, but say that she saw herself as more important than some elderly couple. Okay, and the woman they were both trying to move. They were just both walking. But she found herself as more important. She's fully capable of walking. She has no problem walking. But it's kind of like, you move out of my way. Kind of like she's saying that. You better move out of my way. To elderly people. I have said this recently. I said, here in Texas, you just, you don't mess with grandma. Okay, here in Texas, I don't know about other places, but I can tell you don't mess with grandma. It's grandma. And I looked that up today, and there was actually a movie called that about a woman in Texas. I'm going to try to watch it. I think they said it was on Tubi. Now, I used to have a Tubi account. I mean, I didn't pay for it. It was a free one. But I never really watched it. But I'm going to try and see if I can find it. But don't mess with grandma. And in Texas, we also, how you may have heard, there's signs and stuff. Don't mess with Texas. But there are shirts. I don't know how long they've had shirts. I looked at it one time that says, it's actually don't mess with Texas women. Women. Yeah, don't mess with Texas women. You certainly don't mess with grandma. But you don't mess with grandma because, oh boy, family member, they come out of the woodwork. You mess with our grandmas. But, and somebody else's grandma. You don't mess with grandmas. But anyway, and at my age, yeah, I can see they think that I'm look like one of those, that could be any, but one of those, everybody's grandma. Or my mother, I used to say about my mother. She looks like everybody's grandma kind of thing, kind of person. And so do I. Now, she's gone. She's been gone since 2014. But, anyway, I'm watching this, and I saw this woman do this to this elderly couple. And, the attitude that she's what's most important, the 40 woman in her 40s compared to somebody maybe twice her age. Not twice, but close enough, in their 80s. And she's going to I know 40 is 80, but no, she's in her 40s. And they may have been 80. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying. But she's more important, and they're trying to, God, what lowlife you can watch your video on. And I'm telling you, I was sitting at my desk at the moment when I saw that, and I quite literally, I don't know whether I would say it hurt my stomach, but I felt physically, not even physically ill, but I could feel it. It affected me physically to see somebody do something so despicable. You just don't mess with Grandma. So despicable. And she seemed to think that she was right, because she edits these, plus what she said. Where were you raised? What were you raised by? What? What in your society told you that you're more important? I mean, don't we all have most of us have probably had at least one grandparent that we remember in a good way. And wouldn't you just be standing right there fighting mad if somebody messed with them? I mean, some people, cooler heads, they'd handle it without fighting. I mean, I'm not talking about literally fighting anybody, but we would be there to stand up in case it got there. It's just somebody to disrespect grandparents, elderly people. Wow, and then feel justified, and more than one time. Wow. That's pathetic. I'm wrapping it up.